So the communication problem I'm currently facing in my workplace is that I have head cooks in multiple locations that need to receive consistent and concise information. This problem focuses on the current obstacles of communicating with individuals that aren't in the same location, and they're busy leading their own team through time-sensitive tasks. As a food service director, it is my job to make sure that everyone receives the same information, and that can be hard to do on a day-to-day basis, especially with overarching complex issues. Current obstacles that we face with this issue is that we are coordinating between 4 locations, which means I'm traveling between the 4 different buildings, and it can be hard to track me down sometimes, especially since one of the buildings has no cell service. Second issue that we have is that many of the minute tasks that take up my day could easily be solved with head cooks being able to communicate with each other more frequently, especially when it comes to little things like sharing ingredients. And the third issue that we have is that not only am I multitasking, but my head cooks are running large production kitchens, so they're hyper-focused on what they're doing, and to have someone come in and essentially serve as a distraction, albeit an important distraction, it can be hard to make sure that you remember everything. And so a lot of little things, additionally important things, can be lost in the mix. A good solution to this problem will make sure that every head cook can receive the same information at the same time. It'll also give the head cooks a venue to voice their feedback and to be able to communicate with each other. And I think all of these requirements are of equal priority, especially in the position that we're in. Some possible solutions is to, number 1, install a cell phone tower near the building that doesn't have service. Unfortunately, that would be extremely costly, and the district would have to either increase taxes or find some sort of money to do that, and I'm not sure that's a viable situation. A second option is to set up access to emails in the kitchens. This would allow the head cooks to be able to retrieve the information the same day, just at a time that's convenient to them. A lot of times if I'm calling and they have to drop what they're doing and go answer the phone, but maybe the oven's about to go off, and that's not the situation that we want to have. Some negatives that we have to this is that it would limit the opportunity for the head cooks to communicate with each other. It would also open the door to people taking advantage of work time. And in addition to that, other employees might become slightly envious of the privilege to sit down and check work emails, and I don't want to open the door to any sort of negative, hostile environments in our workplace. Second option is to give my secretary more hours and establish her as a point of contact in the office so that the head cooks communicate to her and I could communicate, and then she could disseminate the information. Unfortunately, that labor isn't currently budgeted for this school year. It could potentially be budgeted next year, but that would be a big impact, especially since she is only 3 days a week, and we would have to bump her up to 5. The other negative is that there's no real opportunity for the head cooks to communicate to each other more than they do so now. But the positive is that it does bring all the inquiries in one place, and that alleviates my stress, just not the head cooks. The fourth option that we have is to schedule quarterly head cook meetings or even monthly head cook meetings after hours. This will enable the kitchen or the head cooks to be able to visit other kitchens and see what it's like, be able to communicate to each other in real time, and it also gives them an opportunity to voice their feedback and learn from each other, and also for me to give them the same information at the same time. The only negative is that, again, this time is not currently in our budget for this school year, but it would not be as much of an impact as adding hours to my secretary. As for which solution is most viable, either the access to emails during the workplace or setting up the head cooks meetings. Even if it was a monthly head cook meeting, I think that's a more viable option. Again, with setting up access to emails in the kitchens, it would potentially open the door to more negative consequences with relationship behaviors in the kitchen, and I don't want to open that door if I don't have to. I like to have a positive working environment for my staff, and I want to have them to be able to enjoy coming to work and being able to be efficient at their job. So therefore, I think the head cooks meeting is the most viable and effective option. Even if it wasn't monthly and it was just quarterly, it would only be an hour to an hour and a half for 4 people. So it wouldn't be a huge impact on the budget. It would meet all of the criteria that we had discussed. talking to each other, giving feedback, and getting information consistently and in real time. Again, it would only be once a month, but I would create an agenda throughout the month to go over large, complex concepts that we would need to go over as a team, and we would be able to facilitate that conversation together. Like I said, the labor constraints could potentially be written into the budget for the following school year after a conversation with my supervisor and the district itself. And so that is my communication problem right now.